Ernie, how does the San Joaquin Valley Index look?
The overall index this is for the month of August, and these are individuals that heads of their companies and are make purchasing decisions for their companies. So what they're telling us, at least for the month of August, the leading economic indicator from that survey was down a bit, but still in the growth range, still above growth neutral. I'm expecting the economy of the San Joaquin Valley to continue to expand. But again, this expansion, Cindy, is just proceeding at much too slow of a pace. We're just seeing the economy growing, but growing much like the national economy, probably less than 2% growth. We need to see double that to really bring the unemployment rate down significantly and get back to pre-recession economic levels for the four-county area of the San Joaquin Valley.
What about employment for the region? How does that look?
The employment number for the month was, like the overall index, was above growth neutral. It did drop from last month. What we're seeing there, Cindy, is this companies are adding jobs, but unfortunately, a lot of part-time jobs, much like the national numbers. We're seeing, for example, wholesale trade adding jobs there, pretty strong growth there. Construction adding jobs as well, not back to pre-recession levels. Durable goods manufacturers there, we're seeing job losses. Non-durables, for example, food processing, adding significant number of jobs there. But when you put it all together, the San Joaquin Valley right now is down about 16 to 17,000 jobs, about 5 or 6% from pre-recession levels. So there is a long way to go for the San Joaquin Valley to get back to pre-recession employment levels. And even then, again, the companies in the area are adding a lot of part-time jobs, not as many full-time jobs. So what we're seeing in the national economy, we're seeing in the San Joaquin Valley. And this, of course, is a survey by Fresno State that we're conducting for the Craig School of Business. And the Craig School of Business, we're tracking that, and things just aren't what we'd like to see for our graduates that are coming out of Fresno State. The job opportunities are expanding, but not expanding like we'd like to see for these young men and women coming out of Cal State Fresno.
What about trade for the region? How does that look?
Trade was pretty good. We do, of course, other surveys of other parts of the nation. The San Joaquin Valley is expanding exports. Imports were down for the month, so less imports. Now that's a bit of a negative indicator. In other words, when companies are importing less, that is at least one signal that things may be slowing down a bit. Exports, again, were a positive growth there. Not quite as strong as what we saw for July, but still a pretty good growth number for exports. And of course, that's very important for an area that's dominated, or at least has a significant agricultural presence. We need to see that continue. And of course, I think we will see it, but heading into the fourth quarter of this year, it's still not as strong as we'd like to see.
What impact has sequestration had on the area?
This month we ask about sequestration, the impact there, and much like we've seen in the prior months, we've asked that question every month for the past 5 months. The federal spending sequestration, about 1/4 are reporting modest impacts. None, virtually almost no businesses reporting significant impacts. 1/4 are reporting modest impacts from sequestration, modest negative. 3/4 are reporting no impacts from federal spending sequestrations. So that's the good news.
What about sustainability for the region? Does that have an impact?
We're seeing more and more of that, Cindy. Businesses are spending, are making their purchasing decisions based upon sustainability. In other words, buying from sources that tend to support sustainability, meaning better for the environment. And in this case, about 25% say they're focused on sustainable purchases, or the purchase of sustainable materials and supplies up significantly, or at least increasing from last time. So that's a good signal, at least from that vantage point. And we also asked them about the price increases. Now we're seeing a little bit of embers of inflation there. We asked about how much they expected prices of inputs that they purchased to grow by over the next 6 months. Now you annualize that, we're talking about 6% growth. Now that's up a bit, and again, I think we're going to see that in the national economy. We're seeing it in the San Joaquin Valley economy. is pricing pressures up a bit, still in a modest range, but inflationary pressures are clearly beginning to rise a bit. We're going to see that, and that's going to push the Federal Reserve. In my judgment, the Federal Reserve will begin tapering, as it's called, pulling back on QE3. Long-term interest rates are going to begin rising. They're going to have to, because we are seeing a little bit more inflationary pressures. At the same time, the economy is continuing to limp along. So this is, although it's better than what we saw, say, 6 months ago, it's still not where we want to see for the San Joaquin Valley economy, according to Craig's School of Business survey.